Had something really cool come for the Evo in this box here from overseas. But before I get into that, I have to give a big shout out to Nick at Inspirations Paint in Nunawading that sent me all this stuff. Really blew me out of the water when he messaged me about all this stuff. So thank you very much, Nick. He has sent me a lot of stuff here. 2 caliper paint kits, 2 like Rain-X style glass treatments for your windscreen, 3 boxes, 6 cans in each, 1 gloss black, 1 satin black, and 1 primer. And now these are not shit paint, yeah, Dulux, good quality stuff. The underbody stone guard, now this is, I'm excited about having this stuff because I think I want to start doing the underneath the Evo. These are the guns that clip onto the top of the can so you don't get like arthritis styles in your fingers from painting a lot. A respirator, surface cleaner, painter's masking tape, and he sent me one of these which I'm really pumped on. As you can see, this thing is bloody bright for something so small, and these magnet underneath your bonnet. Stupid me just came to the Evo to show you how this magnets to the underneath of your bonnet, and I forgot the bonnet on this is alloy, so it doesn't stick to it. But here, there we go. So very strong magnet, perfect for when you're working on your car. Unfortunately, not this car. And also, he threw in the box these 2 LS specific oil filters, which couldn't be more perfect because when I run in the engine, obviously I'm gonna need to dump the oil and change the filter a few times. So they're gonna come in very handy. So thank you very much, Nick. If you get a chance, head over to his Instagram page, which I'll link below and I'll put on the screen here somewhere. Or head over to his shop in Nunawading and buy some stuff. Thanks again, Nick. Now on to this box. The reason I'm so excited about this is literally overnight parts from Japan. So for all the Commodore guys, if you don't know, there's a site called Yahoo Japan, which is pretty much Japan's version of, I guess you could call eBay, but it's more so used stuff. And very good for hunting down rare Japanese aftermarket parts, you know, for Evos, GTRs, S13s. I've been using this site for years. I reckon over 10 years I've been buying stuff. At one point I was buying wheels after wheels after wheels and having them shipped over here. With the popularity of Japanese cars and the rare parts to go with them, it's really hard to find stuff anymore. You used to be able to buy so much cool stuff off there. Now everything really rare, like to even come across in the first place. And when you do, you know, everyone around the world is bidding on this stuff as well, especially guys in the US. So the prices on stuff is insane. So when I spotted this part for the Evo, I thought I have to have it. I haven't bought anything off Yahoo for a very long time for the previous mentioned reasons. But I managed to snag this up for not cheap, but definitely worth it in my eyes. Now, if you know me, you know that I'm all about the genuine Japanese brand name parts. I never buy, this doesn't even have a blade in it. I never buy Chinese parts. I would rather buy one quality, you know, Japanese cool brand part than spend the same money and buy 20 things, you know, that are Chinese branded parts. Quality over quantity in my eyes. So for all the guys that know, the company HKS, a lot of Japanese brands stick to 1 or 2 model of cars, and HKS in the 90s and early 2000s was massively into developing Evo Lancer parts. So there's a lot of HKS stuff for Evos. Big box for something so small. And I usually try to stick to one brand when I do a car. Like my Safiro is all Trust Greddy parts, pretty much. Like as much of that brand part I can find, aftermarket part, is on that car. And with the Evo, I want to try and stick to HKS. It's going to be very hard because you can pretty much not get anything anymore, but anything HKS that pops up for CP9A chassis, I'm going to try and buy. So when this popped up, I had to have it. Now, as I said, this was not cheap at all, but I've never seen one before. So not too exciting, right? Intake kit, this filter, Trust filter, is going straight in the bin. These are absolutely shit house. But a look at that. This is the only reason I bought this. So this is a, it's just an intake pipe. But having that on it, as soon as I saw it, I had to have it. It also has all the genuine HKS couplers. Now I have ordered a airbox for the corner of that engine bay as well. And it's already got a Bliss filter, so cool Japanese brand filter as well. So I'm gonna have like a new intake set up on this to try and neaten it up a bit. You might have seen, this does already have a metal intake on it, but that one doesn't say HKS on it like this one does. And yeah, as I said, I got an airbox coming that sort of sits here and encloses, so it should neaten up all this a lot. And I want to clean up a bit of this wiring, probably pull the battery out, you know, retape all this wiring and shit, but super pumped on this. You Commodore guys probably don't get it. Actually, a lot of the Jap car guys probably don't get it either, why you would spend so much on something so like trivial. But that's just the way I am with my cars. I like to stick to like brands. I'm definitely not like that with clothes or anything else in life. Like, I couldn't give a shit about clothes really. Like, I wear Kmart trackies and underwear and crap like that. I don't care. I'd rather pump the money into my cars and be a brand whore that way. So that's how I am. So I just thought I'd slot this in at the start of this video, whatever video this is that you're about to watch, just because I posted this on my story on Instagram and I got an influx of messages, people that didn't even know this. So I thought I'll slot it into this video. This is how you access everything in the door of a Volkswagen. So if you take the inner door panel off, there's actually nothing there. So Volkswagen make it so you just unbolt the skin and everything's there. So your speaker, your door lock actuator, this is the back of your door handle, your window reg, all the wiring and all that crap. So it turns out not many people knew that, and yes, that is a Volkswagen thing. So just thought I'd slot it into this video. So I pulled everything out of this corner, cleaned and refitted it, retaped the loom and rerouted everything nice and put like a couple of looms together that made it a lot neater. Now I've got the battery tray out to paint. Now, if you know Evo's factory, the airbox is here and the battery's here. But what most people do first thing is just do an intake straight across. I'm not sure why Mitsubishi designed it to come up here like that. Seems very strange, but anyway. So this has an aftermarket battery tray that sits down here in these two holes, which is where the airbox used to bolt to. So I've got that out, got it up here in the paint booth. Paint booth is usually over here. Girlfriend making lunch. So I'm gonna hang it from this tree. I had to give it a real good sand. It was all eaten with battery acid and all that shit, so I went over it with wet and dry. So I'll edge primer it and hit it with some satin black, and we'll put that back in. So the paint on this came out really nice. I'll slot this back in where it came from. Now another thing I really want to change is this ugly battery. Really need a full black one. Now I wrapped this earth cable black as well, which was blue all the way through. So slowly getting rid of all the ugly colors on this car. This is where we're currently at. Picking up from where we left off last VN episode, I am fitting the headers to the engine because I know that you need to do some mods here to the bell housing to clear the headers, as it has these wings on both sides. I left this one at the start of this video so I can show you. You need to do like a chop down here. I've already done this side. So this used to be sort of out here. So you cut the whole wing off, you know, smooth it down nice, and the header's just clear. Now, one other problem I'm having is, I thought I'd done my research pretty well, but apparently not. So, here is my dilemma. As you can see, this is the box bolted to the engine, converter is seated, and as you can see, the gap between the converter and the flex plate is huge. Now that is a problem in itself, that you use these. Now, next problem is, if I use the spacers, the gap is still huge. And if you pull the converter in, like so, even with the spacer, that in turn pops the snout of the converter out of the center of the flex plate. I'm hoping you can see, which is not a good thing. You'll end up damaging your flex plate or the converter itself, or even worse, transmission. So I need a mixture of using those spacers plus one of these little flex plate collars, which I will show you, like so. The annoying thing is, post is shit at the moment. I can find no one local that has one, so I'm gonna have to wait. And it's Friday. And the plan was to get this engine in, literally cut the wings off the transmission, pull the trans back off, put the engine in the car. That was my plan today. But clearly that's not gonna happen because I don't wanna risk just putting it in anyway while I wait for the collar and then something else doesn't fit, and I don't really wanna be doing it on the floor in the car. I'd rather have this whole running gear here ready to go, checked, bolted everything on so I know everything fits, then put it in the car, because it's much easier doing it out here than it is trying to fix shit once it's already in the car. So that's where I'm at the moment. And here is the end result. This is all cut off nicely. And I had to shave the plate between the box and the block, as you can see there, just for this header tube. And it's very tight against the box, like paper thin movement between there. And this is the driver's side. I did have to shave a bit more down here, as you can see, but that all fits nicely and heaps of room between the sump. So I can pull this all back apart. I'll clean up the box nicely and set it aside until that collar comes for the converter. And if you remember from last VN video, I was talking about LS6 manifolds. Well, I ran these numbers here and turns out it already has one. So scrap that, don't need to change the manifold. Is it really a proper video if you don't pull something off and clean it? So this is all the underbody deadener I did under here when I had the whole front end out, and I don't like that it's oversprayed onto this front guard sort of reinforcement piece here. So I'm going to clean this shit off to make it go from this to this. Much better. Here is fine, that's sort of standard looking. Also clean this thing. May seem like a dumb thing to say, but may I suggest every time you pull something new off your car like that hasn't been pulled off before, clean the absolute shit out of it and the area before you put it back on. It'll make your car go from a good car to a much better car when you clean everything before it gets put back on. Just trust me and just do it. Yes, even the horn that has all overspray on it and its surrounding area and wiring. Yes, I know I'm starting to lose the plot with the cleaning stuff, but that's what lockdown does to you, and I cannot wait till the day I get my Saphiro back, or I have room to have it back here, and go over that completely again. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully in the near future, where I start absolutely pulling that thing apart again. You know what I mean? And just a nicer area to work on. That's probably the biggest thing when I mention about pulling things off and cleaning them. It just makes working on your car so much nicer when there's not shit dropping on you while you're under the car. Once you've been there once and cleaned it, then it's going to stay pretty clean if you just maintain it. Another reason I try to keep everything clean is to help prevent rust. Now, just as an example, I've just pulled the guard liner out of this car, which is dirty. That's all the stuff that dropped out. So all this shit up in here is going to clog, you know, drainage plug areas, and that's what causes rust in these older cars. So I thought I'll pop them out, repaint them. I can also paint the sections that are missed. As you can see, the guard liner comes up to like here. So everything here outwards, sorry, has been missed. Like here. I'll go over that with this stone guard stuff that I got. I'll repaint the guard liner, clean everything, and put it all back together. Now here is a prime example. This is the passenger side behind the front guard. Look at that. So imagine how much water gets held there if you drive this car in the rain and it all drains down here and sits. Just begging for rust down the bottom there. I can hear the ice cream truck. So this, in the end, is everything that came out from under the guards. That is ridiculous. So the plan for this video was, of course, to at least just get the engine in with no transmission. And that just isn't going to happen because I have changed my mind with that converter. I don't like how you need to space it out with washers off the flex plate and then also use one of those collars off the back of the crank. I just don't like, there's too much going on there that can fall apart or undo itself, come loose. I just don't want to risk it, it's not worth it. So I have just ordered a brand new Dominator converter to suit this setup. So there shouldn't be a need for any spacers or nothing like that. And it's going to be a bit of a wait. So unfortunately, I can't put the engine in yet. I can, but I don't want to because I want to test fit everything. Like I'm talking headers, box, converter, the full, running gear there. I want to have it all together on the ground because it's easier to modify shit if stuff's hitting or not working if it's out of the car instead of trying to do it in there, which would be an absolute nightmare. So I don't know what's going to eventuate out of this video. We'll have to wait and see what happens after this. The guard liner's back in, all nice and clean, not that you can really see it. And all behind here, all nice and clean now. God, that makes me so happy. So I've just had my new pan come for the Turbo 350, which is right here. Now you may be thinking that you saw my trans with a brand new pan on it, which you would also be correct. But I got advised by my transmission builder to use one of these pans here, which he got for me, and I will show you exactly why. Now, Turbo 350s are very prone to cracking the casing. So, one of the measures you can take to help prevent that happening is a thick cast pan. Now, this is the pan that I got, right? This is 4.5 mil thick. This one is 11 mil thick, so more than double. Second reason, as you can see when they're sitting flat on the ground, this one is a hell of a lot deeper. More oil, the better. You can never have too much oil. Well, you can, but for the purpose of this exercise, it's a better pan. So we're going with that one. So it also runs a filter extension under here to accommodate for the filter to sit lower in the pan as the pan's obviously deeper. And then we sit this baby on. And that is all done. Also thought, while I've got this out and on its side where it's easy to access, I may as well put all this bracketry and stuff ready for the B&M shifter. Now, because this is universal, it gives you pretty much bracketry for everything. So I actually have a lot of this bracketry left. I actually make up a full kit because I used one shifter for my XE, so I've got all the GM stuff left over. And now I'm using another one for the GM stuff, so I've got the Ford stuff left over. So if anyone needs any of this stuff, maybe you bought a used kit that's missing some stuff, or you've lost something, let me know and you can come have it. It's useless to me, so if you need any bracketry for B&M shifter, hit me up. And the bracket for the cable. While it's still fresh in my brain, I want to get people's opinion. So a few videos ago, I had this boot painted, and obviously it has no badges on it. Now, I don't know whether to put badges back on it now. It's hard because Rare Spares only do two, I think. They do the Commodore and the Executive badge, which are both on the right side of the boot just here. I actually have the Commodore one. So this one goes there, then the black and red Executive square, and then on this side it has a lion with Holden. I don't know. Would you put all the factory badges back on? Let me know in the comments down below. That's going to be the end of this one. Sorry it's not that exciting. I'm just putting along doing, you know, all the little odd jobs that I can think of along the way due to this lockdown still in Melbourne. See you guys next week.